Hello, footy fans, and welcome back to the Chip and Chase podcast. We're here on our Wednesday to get into our round 9 wrap-up for the NRL Supercoach season and our preview sort of for round 10 for Supercoach. So as we always do here, we're filming this one. It's going to be up on YouTube. We've got the face cam right up here. We've got everything up on screen, how I went, how the team goes, all of that sort of stuff. You can see all of that. So if you're listening on an audio platform, head over to the YouTube. It's the best place to be for this stuff. And those of you who are on the YouTube that tune into these ones, I really do appreciate it. We're getting a lot more interaction from you guys, a lot more comments, likes, views, all of it. I really appreciate that, guys. And if you guys are only here for the Supercoach stuff, if you're not so sure about the podcast side of things, on the YouTube channel itself, we do have the other podcasts that I do that uploaded in just an audio format. So it's just my logo over the top of that one. But we're also on we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music. So if you guys are just going along in your drive and you want something to tune into, we do have other podcasts that we do. We're not just a Supercoach channel here. We do a lot of just rugby league stuff in general. And if you guys aren't following the Instagram, head over and do that too. That's at Chip and Chase Podcast. But without any further ado, let's get right into this one, shall we? So as you guys can see up on the screen there, not our best week. We finally had a decrease in rankings this week. It's all sort of typified by a certain move I made a bit late into the round, but we'll get into that. But as you guys can see, 1,169 is the score that we pulled out for round 9. So top 24% of scores, not schools. Look, not the best, as we can see. A lot of people were sort of around that 1300s range. I think we could have been a lot closer to that if we didn't do what we did, which, as I said, we'll get to. But that dropped us 2,392 rankings. So we're now down into a season rank of 5,707. Still really happy with that ranking, total score 9,941, top 4%. Yeah, I'm really happy with that score. And again, as we keep reiterating around here, really happy with how the team's shaping up. There's a lot of changes that I still want to be making, and I'm burning through trades. I'd like to be in a spot, hopefully in a week or two, where I can hold a lot of them, but we'll wait and see how we go there. Yeah, look, disappointing. Again, it's all my own fault. It's not like the team necessarily went poorly. I changed a captain option quite late into the round, and yeah, it came back to bite me in the butt. But that's Supercoach. You live and die by that sort of stuff. As I said, as we always say around here, trust your gut, and that's what I did. But yeah, 5,707 as my season rank. Still really happy with that. Dropped almost 2,400 spots. It's not ideal, but we're still in a really good spot. And as I said, happy with the team. So let's get straight into the team, shall we? And we'll go over everything that they went. So Harry Grant, 57 as my hooker. Got to be happy with just solid scores. I'm sorry if you can hear the good old trucks going past. They don't know I'm filming or something. But Harry Grant, 57. Look, not ideal. We know what his heights are, but 57's fine. We're just going to take that at face value. Jaden Brayley, 31. Now, we obviously brought Brayley in. It still proved to be a decent move because we got rid of Cheese, who got injured and only got about 12 points or something. So 31's an increase on that. We made money on that trade. Brayley's going up in cash. I'm not sure he's break even. Yeah, break even of 27 now. So if he's scoring 31, this isn't great. It was an interesting game for that Knights Warriors one. I was at that game, unfortunately, but he played. Yeah, I expected a lot more of Phoenix Crossland in and around that lock role. Not to be. Phoenix played a lot of hooker, and Jaden spent a lot of time on the bench. We'll have to see how that goes, but we'll see if that's a trade that we come to regret. For now, it's fine. We didn't play him anyway. So Jack DeBellin into our front row, 55 points from him. Really happy with that. Just happy with anything around that 50 upwards mark in front row. It's a pretty tough position. The other big one, Terrell May. Now, as you guys would know if you watched last week's episode, we were always planning on keeping Terrell for the bye period. Did we expect 120 from him? Absolutely not. But we kept him and we got that score, and God, it has set us up because he's going to make money now when a lot of people have already sold him. I'm not sure I'll play him again this week. They were down. There was no Jared last week. Obviously, Spencer Leniu has been out since round 1, and both of those players return this week. Victor Radley also returns. So I'm not sure I'm going to be looking to play him. And if those of you who don't own him, or if you sold him and are looking to bring him back in, definitely do not. Like, yeah, 120 score, tough to not get that, especially tough if you traded him out just before it. But it happens. That's Supercoach. He's not going to be scoring like that again all season if I was to predict, especially not this next week. So I wouldn't be looking to bring him back in. You made that trade for a reason. Trust your gut and back that in. But Terrell May's 120. Just happy to have that for the score, let's be honest. 39 from Sam Hughes off the bench. That's fine. He's almost fully increased in price. Break even of 13, so he can look to make a little bit more. Not sure when we trade him. Maybe we keep him. I'm pretty sure Bulldogs play around 13 and 16. So it could just be an extra number to have for those, but we'll have to wait a little bit to see what we do there. Viliami Fafita, as we always do. That's enough, so 0. Angus Crichton, the big one in our second row. 151 points from Angus. He's the gun. As I said it last week, I said it this week, I might have said it the week before. I do wholeheartedly believe Angus Crichton is the best second rower in the NRL. At his best, just everything about him is the best. Supercoach-wise, he used to be a gun back in the day. Obviously, down year last year. I think he even might not have been that great the year before. But 151 points. He's back, baby. He's got a break even of what? -5? -52. That is mental. He's going to go up. Yeah, they're predicting him to go up 120k. I don't think that much. I don't think he's getting 92, but every chance he could, he's a gun. He could be someone that gets to 900k soon at second row. We'll have to see how we go, but if he gets to 900k, he might be a sell and just cash in on that and bring him back later down the track when he loses it. But again, let's just look at points for now. 151, so good. What else can you say? 54 from Kai Pearce-Paul. Slug of a game, as I said, just I was there. Torrential rain. Well, not torrential, but just not ideal weather, that's for sure. It was a shocker of a game, to be honest. Kai Pearce-Paul's 54. We just take that. As I said, 50 or upwards, I'm just happy with at this point, just in base. Josh Curran, interesting. So he's got 63. There's a try involved in that. Now, there was no line break or tackle break. It was literally a try for kick. So it's just the 17 points. But what's 63 minus 17 brings it to 46. It's not ideal, but again, let's just take scores at face value for now and we'll readjust a bit later. 63 points at face value. Happy for that on the side. Now on the bench, Morgan Smithies, Beau Fermor, 46. It's fine. As I said, we've been looking to sell him for a while. He should have a break even of 59. So he's definitely capable of hitting that again, Beau Fermor. They're up against the Cowboys. I'll probably play him this week. We'll have to see. Didn't play the 46, so it's fine. 49 from Smithies. We didn't play that either. He's on the buy now. And 15 from Chan. So he is now losing cash. He's got a break even of 45. Expect to lose 7K. Look, he could be a trade out this week or next week for most teams, just depending on what you're doing. I'll have to judge that in a bit. But yeah, 15 points, of course, we didn't play that either. Now, Nicho Hynes, as you guys can see here, did not end up going the captain on him. You guys, if you saw last week's episode, you would have known I just had a feeling about that Dragons game that the Dragons would get out for it, and they did. It was a low-scoring affair. The Dragons were well and truly in the game. Unfortunately, Nicho Hynes just... He was, even though the Sharks only scored 4 tries, he was involved in 2 of them, or he directly assisted 2 of them. Now, 97 points seems really harsh. If you guys watch that game, Hynes, he didn't do anything astronomical. He had a line break thrown in there as well. That was good. But literally, his try assist will literally just throw it to a front rower who crashes over. And, that's fine. That still gets you Supercoach points. That's how it all works. But 97 from 2 try assists... I don't know what else he did to score 97. It's a bit ridiculous. I thought that game should be a 60-70 score, but maybe it's just because I'm butthurt because I took the captain off him. Regardless, I think the Supercoach scoring system is a bit silly when it comes to that stuff. But, I mean, it's my own fault. I say it all the time. Hynes gets 70 points for walking onto the field and breathing. It's stupid how he gets these points. It's my bad for taking it off him, to be honest. But we'll move on to Luke Brooks. We did end up slapping the reserve on him. It was a bit interesting. I put it on him just because I wanted a player in that Manly match, forgetting that I brought in Ruben Garrick anyway. So 41 points, not ideal, and it was a silly little mistake from me this week. Yeah, there was just decisions I made that weren't the best. But again, we move on with that. But 41 points from him, not ideal. Lachlan Galvin, of course, forced to play him while Dylan Brown was on the bye. 45 points. We'll take that. You know, Tigers didn't get the best game for them, but 45 points from Galvin in base, essentially. Just take that. Dylan Brown, as we said, not played, so we move into our centre wings. Polarising here, 59 from Holmes in a game that we thought the Cowboys would go really well. Not the best. 102 from Garrick, who I had the VC on, and then he updated. I think he had 90 or 91, and then he updated to 102. And I would have taken 100 as a VC, like definitely, because I wasn't sure on the Hines thing. I would have definitely taken that VC. The problem was he'd updated a bit too late, and by that point I was at work. I didn't know what he'd updated to. So I'd already had the C on Chance, and by the time I got around to looking at it, I mean, I still probably could have changed it. I still had the Sunday morning to change it, but yeah, it's look, you live and die by the sword there. I would have looped that if I had the chance. I mean, I had the chance. I just look. Let's stop throwing excuses out there. 102 points again, face value, good stuff, and we're happy to have brought him in. Jesse Ramian, 48 in base again. Happy with that in base. Sharks is going to be interesting. They've got a really tough run, so I'm not sure how many attacking stats he's going to get now. But we'll, just have to wait and see. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. Now, of course, you guys would have known I brought him in 2 weeks ago as a pod purchase instead of Nathan Cleary, which has worked out well because I don't want Cleary now. You know, obviously missed last week, back now, but then he's going into Origin. Like, I'm happy for that. What I'm not happy with is just how the Warriors are going and how Dallin's going. 25 points from Dallin in this one. Should have been more, like he was denied a try. That definitely should have been a penalty try. But even with that, it's off a kick. He gets himself up to like 45 maybe, like not much in it. It's preferable to get those extra points, sure, but it's still not a good score. Yeah. It's an interesting one. I think he's going to... The Warriors, I'm worried about them now. I am, obviously a supporter of them. I really thought we were premiership threats. Even after these 2 games that we lost, I'm like, that's all right. We'll just have to bounce back against the Knights. Now I'm worried. But we'll see. They've got the test of the Roosters next week. I don't suppose Dallin's going to be scoring amazing in that one, but we'll have to see. I'm going to give him another week to prove himself. If not, I'm going to sell him next week to maybe Suo-Fa'alogo. But 25 points will move on. Jack Bostock still in our team. So I'm pretty sure on the video last week, I did trade Bostock instead of Schiller for Garrick. I ended up reversing that simply because, well, Schiller, I said you can hold him and, you still can. He's not being named. You can wait for the right moment to sell if you still have him. But I was like, you know what? I may as well trade now, keep Bostock. He could still score. He could make money. And if he does, he's a great option for the bye rounds. Like, the Dolphins are the only team that play 13, 16, and 18. So I was all for holding him and just, hopefully he scores all right, holds cash, and then we can play him for those bye rounds. 20 points is not the one. So now he's got a break even of 138, predicted to lose 70K. I'd like to hold him for the bye rounds. Spoiler alert, I'm not. He will be a trade out for me this week. But we didn't play the 20 points, so that's not too bad in that essence. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, 53. Again, all in base. Warriors, they don't like going left, but they also don't like scoring points at all right now, so I'm not sure how big his ceiling really is, but we'll just keep him in there. Cal Iro, 68 again from him. He's doing wondrous things for us there. Now, the fullback and the captain, Charles Nickel-Klugster, I believe in the Warriors to bounce back. I was at the game. I really, really wanted to see them perform. Even in the wet, I'm like, you know what? Sure, our attack won't be as potent as it usually is, but they can grind, they'll find points, and if there are points, it'll be on the right-hand side with Chance tipping on to Dallin. Now, they did just keep going right, so it could have happened. It didn't. It just didn't, and then we'll leave it at that. 40 points from Chance, doubled to 80 as my captain. Really stuffed the week around, and now I'm really not sure what to do with trades. I'm not even sure I'll have an answer by the end of this video, but we'll see how we go. Moving on to our other fullback, Reece Walsh, 51 points from him. Had probably one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. Definitely the worst game I've seen him play in Broncos colours. He had some shockers back at the Warriors, but he was really, really young there, so I don't hold that against him. But 51 points in a shocker, we'll take that, and I'm still happy to own him moving forward. So that is how the team went. So before we get into trades and everything, we'll do a quick run through of all of the team list changes. Well, just the major Supercoach related team list changes. So that's over here. So of course you're going to see me looking over here. It's on my second screen. So starting with the Dolphins and Seagulls, they welcome back Herbie Farnworth at centre. Big news there. There was a chance he could have played fullback. We know Herbie wants to be a fullback, but they've named him at centre, and Trey Fuller keeps the fullback jersey. So lucky for Fuller owners. Beyond that, not too much for that team. The Seagulls, they welcome back Ben Trebojevic. So for anyone who held Ben Trebojevic, really good at the moment, because I assume he'll play 80 at second row, or very much close to that. Holokuatu still out for one more week. We'll probably take the role back next week, or he will take Waddell's. We'll have to see. But even regardless of that, he's at a decent price point. He's not going to lose cash. Holokuatu probably, I assume, gets selected for Origin this year, which means Trebojevic will take an 80-minute role over the bye periods as well. So I really like that for Trebojevic, and yeah, lucky for anybody who kept him. Beyond that, not too much. Gordon Chen Kum comes onto the bench with Carl Lawton playing hooker in the absence of Lachlan Croker, though. And Nathan Brown's also out of this one, but again, not too Supercoach relevant. Bulldogs and Panthers, or Panthers and Bulldogs, I should say. Nathan Cleary is back. Well, he's named to be back. We'll have to see if that is the case. So he's at halfback. Paul Alamotti comes into the centres for the suspended Isaac Tungo. Not too many people own Tungo, I assume, and if you do, you hold because it's a one-week thing. Lucky for Cleary owners, you really want him for this matchup. Again, if you don't own Cleary, I would not be looking to purchase him. I think just leading into Origin, it's just not worth doing that trade. I don't know who you got, and I don't really care who you got. I would not be bringing in Cleary, and I will hold that. Maybe it's just because I'm doing that and I'm projecting, but I'm holding that to my chest. Beyond that, not too much else for the Panthers. Have still got Jack Cole on their bench as well. The Bulldogs still have Blake Taff at fullback, so unlucky for anybody who went Connor Tracy. He's still out with that. I think it's a quad issue for Tracy. Josh Curran still named up at prop, and not much else going on there. Whereas Jacob Preston on the interchange again. He was named on the interchange last week and didn't even get on the field, so we'll have to see how it all goes there. But moving into the Eels and Broncos. Eels fresh off the bye. Gutherson is out for, I think it was 6 to 8 weeks with surgery on his knee. So Blaze Talangi gets the shot at fullback. For any of you who own Talangi, lucky you guys for holding, because this could be quite nice for you guys. Beyond that, Sean Russell has been brought in at centre. I'm not sure if he'll actually play centre or if they move Simonson back into the centres who's named on the wing, but we'll have to see. Ethan Sanders still at 6 and Brown at 7, but hey, what can you do there? Not too much else for the Eels. For the Broncos, of course, Adam Reynolds is out. Josh Rogers comes in to play his second NRL game, I believe it is, at halfback. But that assumedly means Reece Walsh will goal kick. So fantastic for Reece Walsh owners such as myself. Beyond that, not too much else for the Broncos. Jesse Arthurs is also out. So if you own Arthurs, tough luck for you. I'd be selling. I would have sold earlier. But that means Corey Oates comes in on the wing. Tigers and Knights. This one in Tamworth, so my hometown. Essentially, it's close enough to my hometown. It's the hometown of the little village that I essentially lived in of Werris Creek. Shout out the Werris Creek Magpies. But the West Tigers, of course, they have Jaden Sullivan coming in at halfback for Aiden Caesar, who was suspended for 4 games with a hip drop tackle. So tough luck there. But again, not Supercoach relevant. Nobody owns Caesar. Forwards, Bateman has been moved back to second row and Isaiah Papali'i into lock. Interesting to see how that really affects Supercoach. But again, that's just wait and see. Not really players we'll be looking at. Just wait and see how they go. Knights, Armstrong still named at fullback. Really good there. And Tyson Frizzell returns from injury at second row, pushing Dylan Lucas back to the bench and Jack Hetherington out of the squad. Dragons and Rabbitohs are next. Now, we'll get to the Rabbitohs because they've changed the entire team, essentially, which they've had to do. But Dragons, Moses Sully back from concussion. That pushes Lomax back onto the wing and Tui Pelotu out. The rest of their team is the same as it was last week. The Rabbitohs, as we just said, Latrell Mitchell is back at fullback from his suspension. So good to see Latrell back, and they desperately need him because they've just lost the young fella, Jai Gray, from that role. I've always stuffed this name out. I think it's Jemet Shibasaki. Played for the Knights, Cowboys. I think he was Cowboys. He was Broncos. But he's come into the Rabbitohs on the wing. Now, he's just on a week-to-week basis for them, which is interesting. I think just while they've got so many injuries, they've been given a license to do that. But again, not Supercoach relevant. Michael Chi Cam is now a centre for them. Dion Teapua, or Teapa, I can't pronounce his name. He played in the halves for Tonga at the end of last season, I believe. He's about 22, so he's a little bit more experienced than your normal young halves coming in. But he comes in for his NRL debut at halfback. I'd expect him to actually play 5'8", and Cody Walker run the ship, which is essentially what the Rabbitohs have been doing anyway, because he's normally a 5'8" at the best of times as Dion. So, but cool to see him get his NRL debut. Shout out to him. Beyond that, their forward pack is back to being decently similar. Jai Arrow is at second row, which is a bit odd to me. But I guess it's because Jacob Host is injured or suspended, I think. Havili plays lock because Cameron Murray's out. Jai Arrow plays second row because Jacob Host is out. Ken Kaloa-Matangi is back in the second row. Sean Kepi and David Mawali are the front rowers. Mamazelis, Tallis Duncan, Thomas Burgess, and Matt French are the bench players. So another debutant there in Matt French. He was really good in the trials. We mentioned him in the trials podcast. So excited to see him get his NRL debut as well. Alex Johnston is also named in the reserves as well, looking to return from injury. Now for the Storm, Ryan Papenhuyzen has been named, not named. He's out of the side for 4 to 6 weeks, I believe they're looking at. Fa'alongo, it might be 5 to 7. Regardless, he's out for an extended period. Fa'alongo is the man to replace him at fullback, the young gun. We got a bit of a glimpse of him again last week. Hopefully, he's going to shred it in his just extended run there. I hope he kills it. And if he kills it, he may snag a wing spot in the future. But he's at fullback, so that's fantastic for us. I wouldn't go early. I mean, I wouldn't begrudge you for going early because he's a freak and he could just kill it. But he's not going to make any price rises this week. It's up against the Sharkies. I'd give it a week and wait on him. Beyond that, Grant Anderson is on the wing for Xavier Coates. Cameron Munster is in 5'8", and Tyron Wishart is at halfback, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure the other day it was the other way around here. Beyond that, not too much else for the Storm. For the Sharkies, however, not much here either. So we skip over that. That's the exact same team. Now, the Roosters and the Warriors, not a whole lot going on. Actually, there's a shit ton going on. I'm in all sorts today. Roosters, Daniel Tupou returns, which pushes Suali'i back into the centres and Junior Ponga out. Jared Warrior-Hargraves returns at prop, which pushes Nafahu White back to the bench. Spencer Lenio returns from suspension on the bench. Victor Radley returns from injury at lock. Connor Watson goes to the interchange. So the players out are Siwa Wong, Satili Tupanua, and Egan Butcher are the men to make way for those names included. For the Warriors, Kurt Capewell is out, which pushes Mitch Barnett to second row and Bunty Alfoa into prop. And on the bench, we have Dylan Walker, Tomale, Jazz Tavanga returning from injury, and Adam Pompey. So interesting there. Then we have the Titans and the Cowboys. Titans have Chris Randall named at 6 in the absence of Tanner Boyd, who was injured. Interesting to see if he does play there. He did fill in there during the week last week against the Storm. We'll have to wait and see there. Not too relevant regardless. Supercoach-wise, that is. Not too much else going on for the Titans. For the Cowboys, Chad Townsend returns at halfback for Jake Clifford, my apologies. And that is all that's going on there. And that wraps us up for all of the team list changes. So that brings us into our trade talks. Now, as we do around here every week, we're going to start by kicking things off with our point of difference players. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you're listening on the audio platforms, this is one where you're either going to want to be watching the YouTube video here or heading over to my Instagram. So once again, if you're not following the Instagram, at Chip and Chase Podcast, it's over there. But we outline 3 players each and every week that are low ownership and can potentially boost you up the rankings in Supercoach. So let's get over to that, shall we? So best buys round 10, point of difference players. You can see them up there. What happens here is I'm going to go through all of these slides. You guys can have a look over those stats. Again, if you're listening on an audio platform, pull up on Instagram and you can see this regardless. Now I'm going to read over what I say on the right-hand side. So our first point of difference player for round 10 is AJ Brimson. Once again, all stats on the screen. If you need further explanations for any of this, feel free to message me or drop a comment down below. But yeah, you guys can read over that, and I will read over what I've said to the right-hand side. We can safely assume the AJ Brimson center experiment is over, and that means great things for Supercoach. Since his move back into the spine, he has averaged 88 points with a low score of 67 in that time. With games upcoming against the leaky defense of the Cowboys and Knights, as well as an origin-depleted Broncos side before the bye, Brimson will look to keep these stats up. And as with his dual position availability, he could be a really great shout to help you navigate the bye period while also providing great scores. Great pod shout for those looking to sell plummeting CTW or fullback guns like CNK, RTS, DWZ, and Mulatalo. This ought to be said there. Obviously had a little bit of a slip up in the middle of that. I'm going to have to edit that and make sure that's actually proper English in the future. But yeah, I think Brimson is a great shout. He's at an awkward price, 680,000, so just under 700k. It's a bit awkward, but you can still drop players like, Pappenhausen if he's injured. He's another player who I didn't mention in that. If you've got Pappenhausen, you can move him down to him, which is great. Frees up some cash, I believe. And again, the CTW fullback eligibility, the dual position, he's going to be so versatile. I think he's going to be so important to have over that bye period. Not so much if you need him, but if you get on him, as I said, as a pod player, I think he's going to do you a world of favors. I think he's going to be so important for your side. But yeah, really like AJ Brimson as a pod play for round 10. We will move on though to our second pod player of the week, Dominic Young. Once again, stats up on screen. I'll start reading through. Are we ready to get hurt again? While I wasn't keen on Young back in round 3, I am far more convinced now. The Roosters look like the real deal, and Young is going to be the beneficiary of attacking stats because of this. If we take away his send-off affected score, Young is averaging 80 points per game in 2024, and we can get him for just a tick over 500k. The Roosters' draw is also really good, with games against the struggling Warriors and leaky defense of the Raiders and Cowboys among their next 5 games. They also play the pivotal round 13 and round 16 bye rounds. Similar to Brimson, Young is a great trade option for those looking to sell fallen Warriors guns or even downgrade players like Bostock. Yeah, 549k for Dominic Young. Essentially, as I said, taking out that send-off affected score, he's averaging 80, and you can get him for under 600k. It's ridiculous. As I said, at this point of the season, we're going to be looking to target not only players, of course, that have good runs up and coming, that make you cash and play well and score you well points, but you want to be targeting those players that are also playing the bye rounds, or at least 2 or 3 of those, or at least the games in between that are really important as well. Dominic Young does just that. He's in one of the best teams in the competition right now, scoring tries for fun. I think he's a great shout. As I said, they've got the Warriors this week. Warriors have been really poor. Maybe they get up for it. Who knows? But we've been saying that for the last few weeks about the Warriors. It's at home as well for the Roosters. So the Warriors have to come across the ditch to play this one. I think Dominic Young, who's he up against on that side? He'll be up on Marcelo Montoya's wing, which is, it's not bad. The Warriors are leaking points on either side. Ideally, you'd want to go on someone on Dallin's side. Dallin is not going quite well defensively at the moment, so you'd target that side. But again, any team against the Warriors right now I'd be targeting, and the Roosters, they're one of the best at the moment. So Dominic Young, love him as a pod shout. We move into our final player, and this one hurts me to say, Jaden Sewer. Jaden, my preseason pod shout out I did not follow. Well, I guess the least I can do is try and convince others to buy you. Sewer has quietly slid under the radar at 2RF in 2024, averaging 64 points per game across the season so far. Even when the Dragons struggle, Sewer does look threatening. Despite having the bye next week, it could be worthwhile to get the jump on him early for the matchup against the Bunnies, who are in absolute chaos. He then goes into matchups against the mediocre Bulldogs, the origin-depleted Panthers in round 13, and the struggling Tigers. I love Sewer as a pod buy and a potential season-long keeper at 2RF. I mean, if you guys have been following for a long time, you'd know I was really high on Sewer literally from the preseason. I said he's going to be he could be a great pod shout. I think he'll average mid-60s for the season, up from, I think, 58 or something last season. He's doing all of that, and I didn't follow that. I did, I don't take control of my girlfriend's team, but we do talk through things together with my girlfriend's team as well. And I did say, pick up Sewer at the start, because if he does do well and I don't own him, I'll be very upset, but at least you'll be getting the points. So lucky she's got him, and she's reaping the rewards from that. Not me, unfortunately. But that's how the cookie crumbles. If you guys, I think 640k, that's the big factor here. It's an ugly price point. But again, people are looking to buy players like Eli Katoa for 690k. Save money. I think Sewer's got a better run. I think I really, really rate Sewer. The price point's ugly, but again, that's what makes him pod. Nobody's going to go for him. You can be one of those 1% or 2% that own him and benefit from that. So Sewer, here's the last pod shout for our pod players for round 10. Let's move into my team and the other trades for the week. So most traded in, again, we just look at players not in my team because can't be bothered to look at the overall players that are being traded in. But most players traded in, not in my team. David Armstrong, a lot of players looking to bring him in. I like it. I think he's, the Knights are 2 from 2 since he's been in the side. Didn't have the best game, Supercoach and NRL-wise, last week against the Warriors. But they still won the game, so they're not going to drop him from the squad because of that. Still looking to go up heaps in cash, minus 47 break even. He's bottom dollar, CTW fullback, dual. I rate him as a trade target this week. Dominic Young, we already mentioned as one of our pod players. Love him this week. Suafa-Longo, people are looking to get the early jump on him, the early crow. I don't hate it if you want to go on him early. We know he's just an absolute freak. They do have the Sharks, which is a bit scary, which is why I'd be more likely to wait a week. He's not going to make money anyway, but if you think he's someone that you want to play this week, yeah, you can jump on him early. Jermaine Asako, minus 27 break even on the back of 151 points, 776,000. It's now or never for Jermaine Asako. We haven't put him in a pod thing because I'm pretty sure he's decently high ownership. What are we looking at for him? 11% of teams. That's not that bad, actually. So he's still decently pod. Like, not too many people own him. If you don't get him this week, you're missing the jump. You can't get him after this. This is the last week to get him. The Dolphins play every bye round. They're the only team to do that. So that's round 13, 16, and 19. To have someone like Isako for them is going to be astronomical. So you could move heaven and earth to get him this week, and I would not begrudge you. I think he's going to be so important to your season. But yeah, 4th most traded in, definitely not a bad shout. And 5th most traded in, Scott Drinkwater, someone I'm looking to target here. But we'll get to that a bit later. I don't mind a lot of people obviously looking to move on Pappenhausen if you owned him and he got injured. Or in my case, a player like Charles Nickel-Klugstad, who I'm not sure I want to keep now with the Warriors struggling. But we'll get to those in a bit. Most traded out in my team, Jack Bostock. Yep, all for it. If you still own him, I'd be selling this week. You could still hold for the buy period if your team is really strong or if you've got other issues. But I'm looking to trade him before that price drop. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is second most sold in my side. I don't hate it because, as we said, with the Warriors struggling, you can move him on to someone like, he's a straight swap to Dominic Young. They're actually, you spend $600, not $600K, $600 to get Tuivasa-Sheck to Dominic Young, and Dominic Young's got far more upside. And he plays the better buy round. He has better buy round coverage. So I like the Tuivasa-Sheck trade out. He's not a necessary, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not a important's not the word, but he's not I still can't think of it. Priority, that's the word. He's not a priority trade out. If there's other issues in your side, he's still not scoring bad to Tuivasa-Sheck. I'm happy to keep him. Morgan Smithies is the next traded out. They're on the buy, so definitely wouldn't be trading him out this week. You can just hold unless you get into a gun like Jaden Sewer. But again, I think I might want to hold him for the buy period, but we'll have to see. Joe Chan, next most traded out. Yep, all for selling him this week if you can find a good target. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, next most traded out in my side. Yeah, I like it. I think Warriors are awful. I know they're always going to go right, and he can score tries. We know Dallin could score tries, but at his price point, and when you can go to players like Dominic Young and make cash, or if you can find the money to get to Osako, or if you can even drop him down to a David Armstrong and free up money, like there's a lot of options there, and I think Dallin as a sell isn't a bad option. So let's move into what I am doing. Full disparity, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Apologies for the F word thrown in there. I have no idea. I've got only 37k in the bank. You know, I can move Chance onto Drinkwater, which, yeah, I can do that as a straight sideways swap. I spend maybe 10k there. I like Drinkwater for the upcoming games, but is it worth a trade to do that? I don't know. I can move Bostock on to anyone else. I think I will be moving Bostock this week, but I can't get into Osako, which is tough because I'm 140k away from that. And even if I traded Nickel Klukstad to, who am I on about? To Drinkwater, that doesn't free up any cash. I could sell Dallin Watene-Zelezniak this week and go, let's just have a look at that. Dallin to Jermaine and Bostock to Armstrong, who's didn't score well, scored 25. And Bostock to Armstrong leaves me with 267. I get Osako into the team. I get rid of... Is that more important than Scott Drinkwater? Potentially. I know I brought Dallin in 2 weeks ago. At least the thing with Chance is he has base. Like 40 points in a game that they got rolled. Base. It's base stats. I'm scared of not owning Drinkwater. Let's have a quick look before we finalise that trade of what Drinkwater's break-even is. I think he's got Titans this week. Still got a 93 break-even. I can wait a week on Drinkwater. I know, he might go up. Very, very good chance he does that. Let's go by average. Chance is still averaging the second most. He's got 95, so he's probably going to drop. I don't think it'll be that bad of a swing. It's a shame because I brought in, but I want to keep Dallin. It's a very difficult one this week. The other thing is I could just go Jack Bostock to, let's cancel all trades. I could go Jack Bostock to Dominic Young in one hit. And where is Dominic Young? Average. He wouldn't be averaging that high, to be honest. What have I done here? Averaging, there you go. So I can do it in one hit and actually have 80k and just go one trade there. Let's just lock that in for now and see what we're looking at. Then I've got an entire center wing of just guns, if you want to call players like Dallin and Roger and Iro guns, but they're definitely playable options. Is that where I want to go with that? But then I only have 80k. I save a trade doing that. Do I skip Osako? Can I cover Osako? I think I do that. But then I may as well go Nickel Klukstad to Drinkwater just like that, right? Right? What stops me from doing that? I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm tempted. What is the Warriors buy coverage? Sorry, we're going to bring this up on... Let's bring it up on this screen for you guys. All right. Draw. Warriors obviously have Roosters this week. Then they go Panthers. God damn. Panthers into Dolphins. Not awful, but we're awful at the moment. And then we don't play round 13. While Drinky, what are we looking at here? Has Titans in round 10. Rabbitohs in round 11. Have I missed them? Tigers in round 12, and they do play round 13. It has to be Chance out. I don't want to do two trades, but it just makes sense. Yeah, Chance. I'm sorry. Chance to... Where is he? Scott Drinkwater. It just makes sense. I didn't want to do that trade. I don't even want to do the I didn't do the Dallin trade. We've kept Dallin after all that. Yeah, I think that's where I'm looking this week. Every chance these change, and I'll let you guys know on the Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, that's why you want to be, so we can keep in touch about this stuff. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to captain Drinkwater this week as well. I really like that. Look, if Chance comes out and kills it, I'll be very upset because he's my boy and he's pod and it's just... it'll be very upset, but this is upsetting. But hopefully, if he's scoring well, it means he's feeding Dallin and it makes it all worth it. But I think that's the play. Of course, the other thing is, of course, trade Dallin to... What were we looking at? Trading Dallin to... No, we can't do that. We don't have enough money to bring in Dom Young and Isako. So I think that's the go. I'll skip Isako. It's going to hurt. As I said, I think it could be season defining. If you are getting Isako, it has to be this week. I can't. If I skip him this week, I can't get him, and that's just going to be what I live with, unfortunately. But I'm happy with this side. So those are going to be my trades. I think, as I said, if I make any changes, follow the Instagram, and I'll keep you guys updated. But those are my trades that we're looking in at the moment. That is Scott Drinkwater in and Dominic Young in for Jack Bostock and Chance Nickel-Klugstad. Only leaves me with 70k in the bank. And I don't know where to make money from here because I could get Sewer. Oh, maybe I can, if Dallin shits the bed again, I can sell him to Sewer next week and make 200k maybe. Probably less than that. He's probably going to drop 100k here. We'll see. Yeah, maybe we look to do that next week and just abort ship on the Warriors, but we'll see how we go. For now, I think I'm happy with that as a trade. The money I can free up with Dallin next week, if I do end up selling him, is I can go to, or maybe I'll sell Roger and hope Dallin comes good. I don't know. We'll see. Is then I can move Fermor to someone like Britton Nicola, who I'm really keen on, or I can bring... How is the Titans buy round coverage while we're here? I keep looking. Yeah, they don't play 13. Then they've got Rabbitohs in 14, which isn't awful. Tigers in 15, which isn't awful. 16, they play Warriors. They've got Jesus. They've versed the worst teams in the comp. Then 17, they have the bye. Then 18, they have, I've missed them already, Sharkies, and then 19, they play the Eels. Maybe I keep Bo Fermor. I don't know. These are all things in the future. Terrell May could be look. For now, I think we're going with Dominic Young and Scott Drinkwater in. You know, it could be silly. I could just save that trade on Chance, but Drinkwater against the Titans, Chance against the Warriors, I don't really like it, but I also think the Warriors can come good. I don't know. As I said, I think this is all going to change. I don't want to spend too long on this video just umming and ahhing, so we'll move on from that. But those are my trades for now. Let's look at Sip v starts. In my boat, with all of these center wings, it has to be, that. It has to be that. It's just Walsh, Iro, Tuivasa-Sheck, and Dominic Young for me. I'm going all in on the center wing position. I think it's just the best spot to be playing your players nowadays. I will be definitely playing Dylan Brown over Lockie Galvin this week. And that's all for my team. This is where we're going to switch things up. I'm going to not play Terrell May. I'm going to play Josh Curran at front row, and I'm going to play Bo Fermor in my starting side this week. As I said, don't like Terrell May this week with all of the ins for the Roosters. So that is where I'm looking with that one. But leaves us with this team here. Really happy with how that all shapes up. In terms of captain options, let's look across the board. So Dolphins and Manly start the week. Dolphins, would you captain anyone? No. Even if you have a Trey Fuller or a Jermaine Asako, I still don't think you captain those players. Or you could throw a VC on a Asako or a Fuller, but I wouldn't do it on Fuller probably because it means you can't play your second fullback, which is probably going to be a gun. So I don't mind a VC on Asako. On the other side of the book, they versus Eagles, you could VC Garrick or you could VC Trebojevic if you own those players. I'm going to stay away from that game. I think it could be pretty close, that one. Panthers and Bulldogs is next. You can VC Nathan Cleary here. I think that could be a great shout. Nico Hines plays the Storm later in the week, so I don't think you're really looking to captain Nico Hines. So if you have Nathan Cleary and Hines, VC on Cleary and just put a reserve on Hines. I like that this week. Beyond that, you could even go Dylan Edwards against the Bulldogs, but I think the Bulldogs are a slouch. And I think Dylan Edwards without goal kicking, I'm happy to, I mean, I don't own him anyway, but if you were one to own him, I'd probably skip that matchup. For the Broncos and Eels, you could put a VC on Reece Walsh this week. I like that matchup for the Broncos. He's going to be doing everything. I know there's no Adam Reynolds, but it's still the Broncos. He'll be goal kicking now, so I don't mind that. For the Eels, you're not captaining anyone there. Tigers, Knights, nothing on there. Dragons, Rabbitohs, you could go a Zach Lomax captain if you want to be really pod, but I'm staying away from that. Storm, Sharks. Look, you can still go for a captain on Nicho Hines. As I said, he walks onto the field, he breathes, and he gets 70 points. He's going to score decent regardless. I would still be looking to go away from it, and that also means no Storm players, no Grant, no Munster, no Pappenhausen anymore anyway. But yeah, wouldn't be captaining them. Roosters, Warriors. Now, that is interesting. If you own James Tedesco, he's not a bad captain option there. I think he's looking really, really good. So I don't hate that. Beyond that, I don't think there's too much. You could even captain Dominic Young if you want to be ridiculously pod, but I wouldn't captain anyone in that game. And then Titans, Cowboys. For me, this is the pick of the bunch. Scott Drinkwater captain, lock and load for me. So that is where I've gone with my side. So VC, who am I going to VC? Is it going to be... I can't VC Walsh, unfortunately, because they're both fullbacks. That's a shame. I think we'll just keep it on Ruben Garrick then against the Dolphins and hope he goes well. But I'm pretty set that I will be captaining Scott Drinkwater this week. So that wraps us up, doesn't it? That's our Sit V starts. That's our captains. That's our trades. And that's it. So thank you guys for tuning into this one. As I said, for all you who actually do watch these on the YouTube and tune in and comment and like, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys interacting. It's helping me out tremendously. I'm not making any money from these, so it's nothing like that. But just seeing those numbers creep up is really humbling for me. And I really appreciate you guys. So thank you guys for always tuning into these ones. Those who still listen on audio platforms, obviously love you guys just as much as well. But I still recommend head over to the YouTube. It just makes it a bit more interactive and you can connect with me a little bit more. But that one will do us. Once again, follow the Instagram, follow on all different streaming platforms, whether that's YouTube, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We're across everything. But yeah, that'll do. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.